I hope you're doing great. Over the past week and a half, I had conducted a worldwide adjustment survey of chiropractors. And I'd done this in 2015, but I pushed it out mostly to my list, and people criticized it saying, well, they're people who think like me because they're on my list, so it's kind of biased. This year we did something different and we went big. We pushed it out through Facebook and we got over 2,000 chiropractors to respond. So this is a diverse group of chiropractors throughout the world who answered this survey, not simply people who were just on my list. And I found the results to be surprising, maybe even shocking, because many of the so-called leaders in this profession who try to promulgate that the profession has changed now and that we need to change our lexicon and our orientation and our academic procedures, meaning what we teach students, that we need to change all these things because chiropractors today are different than chiropractors from the past. So I was curious because the core service that we offer is what? The adjustment. I was curious about what chiropractors think around this, and the results in my mind were shocking. They were surprising in a very good way. So spend a few minutes with me here. I think this will stimulate your thinking and get you to self-reflect a little and also give you a context for what's going on in the minds of chiropractors throughout the world. So here we go. The first question. Do you prefer the term adjustment, manipulation, or you don't have a preference? 92.48% of chiropractors said that they prefer the term adjustment, meaning it's a preference. Manipulation, only 1.5%. Do you know how many people in this profession who are leaders saying we have to drop the term adjustment, we should use the term manipulation, it's better understood interprofessionally, etc. They don't understand that there's a difference, which I'll explain in one moment. And then 6.02% said, I don't have a preference, meaning around 6 out of 100 chiropractors say, I don't care which term it is, it doesn't make a difference to me. But 92.48% of chiropractors worldwide prefer the term adjustment. And I always like to characterize the difference of the strain of manipulation versus the impulse of the adjustment. They're different things. And I'm not saying one is bad, I'm just saying they're different things, different services with different intentions. Question number 2. Do you think there is a significant difference between an adjustment and a manipulation? 79.65% said yes, for sure. 11.5% said no, not at all, meaning they think adjustment and manipulation are pretty much the same thing. And 8.84% said, well, there's a minor difference. Interesting. Again, vast majority, around 80%, say there's for sure a big difference between the two. Question number 3. Is the adjustment the primary service you offer in your office? 92.58% said yes. 7.42% said no. So what are the 7.42% doing as the primary service in their office? Yeah, who knows? Maybe it's nutrition or some other things they do. I'm not here to judge them. I'm just here to tell you that the vast majority of chiropractors see the adjustment as I'm talking when I say vast majority, 92+%, as the central or the primary service they offer in the office. Question number 4. What range, and listen to this, I found it very interesting. What range of impact do you think the adjustment has? I think it's a great question. And the choices were either musculoskeletal pain only, musculoskeletal pain and visceral function, or musculoskeletal pain, visceral function, and general health and wellness. So listen to this, because this flies in the face of a lot of things people are promulgating right now. As far as, again, what's the range impact of the adjustment? 2.01% said it's just back pain, musculoskeletal pain only. 2.23% said it has musculoskeletal pain and visceral function. 95.76% of the respondents from around the world said that the impact of the adjustment affects musculoskeletal pain, visceral function, and general health and wellness. At the same time, we have academic institutions saying that chiropractors should not be promulgating wellness, long-term care, and those types of things. But over 95% of the profession feels that the adjustment has impact in those realms. So I found that to be a really satisfying answer in the survey. Question number 5. Have you experienced radical health changes, what I put in parentheses, chiro miracles, in some of your patients as a direct result of the adjustment? 89.93% said yes, for sure. 3.38% said no, never. And 6.69% said maybe, but I'm not convinced it was the adjustment. So 90% of chiropractors said, I've seen miracles in my office. I think that's pretty cool. Question number 6. Which do you think is more important, the technique being used or the skills of the chiropractor using the technique? Because it's kind of interesting. We've had this tradition in chiropractic with these technique wars. But in the end, I'm wondering if you think it's the actual system of adjustment that matters more or the skills of the person doing it. And you might expect the answer. 3.96% said, no, it's the technique. That's what matters most. And 96.04% said it's the skills of the person doing it. So I'm wondering, how much have you been working on your technique? Very important question, which we ask in a few moments. Question number 7. Are you frustrated with the variations you get in the results from patient to patient? Because I hear that a lot. People say, some patients I get great results, other patients I don't get great results. Incidentally, there's only this question and one more left, just to stay with me. So some people, I see many chiropractors, they're frustrated with the variability in the results, and we've been having some deep conversations around this lately. So here's what it says, the answer to that question. Yes, it is very frustrating. 21.71% of chiropractors felt it was very frustrating, the variation in results. 45.87% said, no, my results are pretty consistent. So not quite half of the chiropractors feel they're somewhat consistent in the results. And 32.42% of chiropractors said, even though my results vary a lot, I don't get frustrated. Okay, so it's interesting. What I have found, and we're having a technique summit that you're invited to coming up this Tuesday, May 17th, that it's free, there's no charge for it. We're going to have conversations around this. But I have identified the variables in the adjustment and created this thing that I call the adjustment equation, which I'm absolutely convinced will help you get better results if you work with those variables, no matter what your technique is. So join us on Tuesday. In the email where you got this video is a link so you can come with us on Tuesday and watch it. Question 8. How much technique/adjustment training do you do? This was interesting. 24.75% said, I engage in a lot of technique and adjusting training. Good for them. 53.88% said, I do some technique and adjusting training once in a while. 21.37% said, I rarely engage in technique or adjusting training. So I'm not here to judge anybody, but I will tell you that if the adjustment is the core service that you offer, and if it has the impact that's described in this survey based in the minds of chiropractors, then shouldn't you be doing some training? So I want to invite you to come to the summit because that is a form of training that we're going to be covering some good stuff there. Also, we're launching a new class of my 5-week training course called the Adjustment Formula. There's a link to it if you want to check it out in the email where you received this video, or you can go to adjustmentformula.com. Read about the modules. It's 5 modules. It's a 5-week sprint. It's a tight course. And by the time you're done, you'll be transformed in your ability to give the adjustment regardless of technique. It's a really interesting conversation we have throughout that. So with that, thank you for participating or for at least viewing the results of this survey, and I hope I see you at the Technique Summit.